I think a recent lesson I've learned is to be skeptical of advice, because I've realized increasingly not every piece of advice is helpful. Because I don't know, like for me, for the longest time, like whenever like I got advice, I always used to find value in it, at least like as a teenager or like a few years ago. But increasingly I've found that a lot of advice is just, I don't know, I think it's something about this age when people kind of just want to give you a very narrow focused like piece of like experience that they had and how it should be like this, and how they kind of tell you to like go do this also because it worked for me. And I have to kind of tell my brain, this is bullshit, don't listen to this, because this is not what you want. Like, I've just graduated out of college, and so a lot of people have advice about like what career path I should take, I should do this and that, where at the end of the day I know what I want. And so it's so like kind of annoying almost, like when people tell you like, oh yeah, you want to do this, but like you should go to do this and that, and this this company is really good and you should apply here and everything. And it's just like, yeah dude, I applied there, I got rejected. It's like, what are you on about? Like, I just told you that. And I don't know, it's such a like, it's just something you always have to be careful of, because like getting bad advice can just really mess up your day. Like, that's why like for the longest time like I was avoiding family after graduation and everything, because I just felt like everyone was gonna give me their sweet take on like what you should do with your life and this and that, and they would ask me like, oh, what are your plans for the future and everything. And everyone just wants to like give their opinion, like give their sweet take on like how life worked out for them, and how this one thing that they did like 10 years ago really like set them on the right path. And it's something, it's like, dude, it just doesn't work like that. Like, that's one thing I have to also tell myself, that a lot of the people I'm talking to nowadays, especially when it comes to like stuff that's like long term, like job, career path, whatever, a lot of the people I'm talking to, they're like in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s even. And I have to tell myself, the world was so much different when these guys started like becoming adults. Holy shit, in my lifetime so much has happened. I went through an entire pandemic, man. Like, have you guys been through anything like that? Like, you did, or did you go through it at my age when like you're really confused about what you want out of life and everything? And so when I get this sort of advice from people, especially like older people, I always have to tell myself, be careful about what you're like sort of listening to and what you're absorbing. And it's such a conscious thing I have to do, because I don't know, man, human beings are really dumb. Like, our brains just kind of like absorb information, and we just kind of believe that, oh, because it's coming from an external source, it must be correct, because my brain's kind of faulty. And it's just like I don't know, you give more weight sometimes to other people's advice because it's just something that's outside your brain and your thinking and your anxiety. And so it's such a conscious effort every time like there's like a family event or something, or like a lunch or dinner or whatever. Like, talking to people my age, it's like so much easier, because I think all of us are sort of in it together and they understand the pressures of like what we're going through right now. But people like just older than me, there are very few people who actually give like good advice. And I actually appreciate the people who don't have to give advice. They literally say like like good luck on the job hunt and like stuff like that. Like, I appreciate that so much. You didn't like give me random advice on like what you think I should be doing and stuff like that. Like, they understood that it's just a stressful part of my life or something, and they kind of gave me that sort of like nice gesture that, hey, you're probably gonna figure it out, it's probably confusing right now, you'll figure it out. But man, I just can't with the bad advice anymore. Like, I just can't. It's not something you can't even like actively avoid, because it just comes from the most random places, the most like random times. Like, someone will just say that, oh, you should do this and that, and you're just like there's a part of your brain that goes like, maybe you should do that, and then you just kind of have to tell that part of your brain to shut up, because you have a plan, you have a strategy of what you want to do and everything, and you should just stick to that. Like, sure, input is welcome, especially at my age, but at the same time, everyone just has an opinion on how this should be done and how life should be lived and what job you should take and this and that. Like, great, life worked out for you, that's awesome, like it's just so much worse now. You just don't understand, you can't fathom. Like, you have a house, you have a job, you have a kid, like you have all that. Like, people my age, we don't have that, we're struggling for that. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world. I think it's just really sucky and really bad all across the board when it comes to like just affording the bare essentials in life, man. It's like, it's bad, man. And like with world events and how depressing the whole world is right now, it's just bad. And I guess if there's anything you can take away from this video, it's that be skeptical of the advice you receive. Not all of it is supposed to be heard even. Like sure, hear it out, hear the person out, hear their perspective, hear their opinion, but you really have to develop that mental muscle of just understanding what you can take from this, and everything else you need to push it to the side, because I think it really conflicts with like your own goals and like what you want out of life essentially. Because everyone that you talk to and like they give their advice on like how you should be doing stuff, it could be about anything, career, I don't know, like it could be anything, and you need to realize that not everyone has the same objectives as you, the same goals, the same passions even, and you need to prioritize what's important to you, and you need to just take the advice that kind of just supplements whatever framework or ideas you have about the future and what you want to accomplish. Because a lot of the advice that you receive, especially as an adult, it's just, no offense to like all the nice people in my family, it's also so annoying because in these situations you're kind of on the back foot. Like, it's probably an older relative, you probably don't have the time nor the patience to explain to them, yes, I've thought about what you've said, I've thought about it 20 times, it doesn't work for me, I don't want that. It's like, you can't do that in like, you know, like a dinner or something. Like, you can't tell them that, yeah, I've thought about that, yeah, I applied there, yeah, like I did this, I did that. And honestly, if anyone out there is like facing the same situation, you really need to master the art of zoning out. Like, it's truly a skill. Like, you just need to zone out. You kind of just have to go like, yeah, then just nod your head, yeah, like you're listening to them, and just take it. And like, it's a true art that you have to like just master, where you just have to zone out, your brain has to go somewhere else, and you just have to be like, yep, sure, yeah. And that's really how you get through this, because again, everyone wants to give you their piece of opinion on like what you should be doing with your life, especially when you're, you know, a young adult and like you're just entering the world. And yeah, everyone has opinions, everyone has ideas. Not all of them are great, some are great, and some actually feel great. Like, you can tell like someone actually heard you, someone actually understood your circumstances, and they gave you some advice. Like, they heard your career goals, what you want out of life, and they're like, oh, you should try this and that. And that makes me really happy because, you know, I feel like someone heard me, they adjusted their advice experience to my goals, and that's just a win-win, you know. That's the thing about bad advice. Like, I feel like, sure, like people start talking about what they did in life and everything, but you have a follow-up. Like, yeah, like you just say like, yo, I've thought about it and everything, but nah, they just wanna get the point through. Like, yeah, this thing happened to me like this, like so many years ago, and like this and that, and like they just want to be heard. And I guess there's no harm in that, I guess, you know. They're trying to make conversation and everything, but it becomes a very depressing day for me because I start reevaluating all my life choices and whether I am doing something correct or whether I should be doing something else. I'm wasting my time, this and that, and it's all because of these conversations. And maybe, I guess, this is just something that you kind of have to go through at this age. And yeah, I guess if you're going through the situation, maybe my rant or whatever this has helped you in some way. And yeah, I guess that's about it. Thanks for watching.